stone over on the Walnut Street side?
Yeah, I mean, we did look at it a little bit. We talked about, the exposed, ledge or stone that next to the station. I believe the footprint we're showing right now stays kind of outside of it. That's definitely something as we fine tune it, and if that's, the desire not to touch any of it, we can, try to massage the ramp in there for improving that one to avoid it.
Did you see the access? I just wanted to finish on. Did you see the access from the street to where the buildings and the sidewalk? So there's something built on that side. The curb cut, did you see that? Out of the survey? In front of the dentist office.
Yeah, sure it's been, I think they picked it up in the survey.
Okay.
I'm sure they have it, yeah.
Because the city had done that a few years ago, and his, as he was going in,
It's like,
Yeah.
if you do, or even if you don't,
I can go back some of it.
please put some steps midway, because people who are not in wheelchairs are going to take a shortcut and jump over the ramp, and you'll get quite a washout. And you really should put steps in Newton Center, where there is a washout where people have jumped over the ramp to take a shortcut to the state. And if you look at, there's a system of ramps and steps at the Newton Wellesley Hospital Medical Building, which is a combination of all of them, and it works out very well. So that was the main thing I want. If you well, even if you don't have a switchback, it would be a good thing to have one set of steps.
Yeah, no, that's been considered. In this case, it's more or less, I think the ramp comes out here, but yeah, we could add some steps down at the center at the very end. And
Well,
especially,
but halfway down,
Yeah.
figure where people, or wait and find out where people.
yeah, it would just, I think in this case, kind of the platform ends around here, so you could bring them right where it is. But those are some of the additions we talked about. The same with, if we're,
Use the Newton Highlands station now, and how many would use it if it was accessible?
Yeah, could you, maybe everyone else understands this, but could you clarify what it means that we're at 15%?
15%, it's just kind of a design, preliminary stage.
Saying that, really be the advocates for this project. We'll do as much as we can, and the funding is very tight right now. So I'm not going to make any promises that I can't keep.
Just to clarify, if it's all right, is this, and I understand the governor has made statements about maintenance versus expansion, but this would not be expansion, this is bringing a current station up to code.
It's making it accessible, correct.
So would that be in the category of maintenance?
It's actually,
Are people for what?
it's actually in a state of good repair, and in most cases, our state of good repair also means making it accessible. This is a good first step. I mean, it took a lot just to get this far. It is a project. We are committed, obviously.
And that would make it accessible. That seems to me we should go for that. There's a much better chance of getting a much cheaper.
So to piggyback on what Tom said, the funding request we put in for Newton Highlands was to take the design from 15% to 100%. Assuming we got that, we would then, in the next cycle, put in for construction funding. So we're really focused now on trying to secure funding to make that final decision and bring the design all the way to the point where it's finalized and we're ready to find construction dollars.
And how much
Yeah, but
would
why can't the MBTA decide to do, recommend, the simple one that this architect laid out, and then the funders will be impressed and say, oh, good Lord, we can make it accessible for so much less money, let's do it.
So we would still need the money for the design.
Oh, I know.
For the design, no matter which option we go with, we need a set amount for design, which is what we're looking for in this capital funding cycle. And then certainly if we
design?
For a design, not due.
Well, be premature and don't lock in on this number. But I think for a job of this scope and complexity, it could well be 1.5 million
For the design?
for the design.
But
Yes.
if you're not gonna use 100% design, why waste $1 million?
Well, you have to start with a plan.
Yes, exactly, but this gentleman has presented a plan that he told to 15%.
But keep in mind, at 15%, it's really a conceptual plan. And as he stated, you know, once we get funded for further design, we'll be coming back to the community at 30% design.
Why?
They'll be more refined because a lot of detail has to be added. All the details, platform edge, you know, that would allow a contractor to actually bid on the project, build it to code, you know, maintain the quality that we need for our facilities. It's quite an involved process. And I understand there's a wish to just achieve accessibility,
Yes, that's the point.
but with the codes being written the way they are, we're required to provide a certain level of compliance.
Oh, I know.
So you can't just meet it halfway. Once you put a shovel in the ground, you have to meet the code.
Of course.
Yeah, but then you don't have to have a ramp off of Hyde Street in order to meet the code.
Well, that's why we're presenting alternatives. It's through this community process and those feedback forms I handed out that we could hear back from everyone in attendance. And I'll be sending a copy that can be posted online.
And they can email you as well, if they don't?
Yes, I have my email on there.
It-
We'll
it
be
is-
posting this presentation so people can digest it, think through their questions, state their preference.
At this time, which looks the most feasible and also the most realistic? Which one of the four options?
While we're balancing full accessibility with some operational needs, I'll just point out that our operations directorate really doesn't like the grade crossings. They're grandfathered here, but keep in mind that the Office of the State Building Inspector doesn't really like any new grade crossings. They consider it a variance situation. So, we have a station that's been here for over 100 years. It's evolved, but when we touch it in 2017, we have to meet the current codes. And they always are more complex than
Okay,
what
so-
they were allowed to build years and years ago.
So you're concerned with the crossing because of the tracks? Because there's a curve in the track?
Correct.
Okay, so.
You know, the geometry of the
Right, but-
tracks as it weaves its way through the bridge abutments, there's fixed points. So
I
suffice to say, it's a very challenging site, geography-wise, elevation-wise.
I know the geography well, and what I'm saying is, and I've been a part of these kinds of accessibility studies for 35 years. So what I'm saying is that when you look at the Auburndale platform that's supposed to be built, that will be built, they're gonna have to move the tracks from where the commuter rail is now to where the freight trains and Amtrak move. So that's quite complicated. So that's no doubt that it's doable. So whether you have a curved track at that area, I know there's concerns inherent in that sort of thing. And you say it's been there 100 years. We've seen what something can go from one century to another and how they can be corrected. So I see the Auburndale platform that's been built and having to move tracks to meet the commuter rail to get up to the new platform, proposed platform. Much more complicated than what we're talking about at this particular New Highlands T Stop.
Also, like to just make one more point to the, especially to the members of the MBTA that, but just some background in New Highlands, because I've been in the city council, I run the Hyde Community Center here, which used to be the Hyde School. And Robert lives at 82 Lincoln Street, which is part of the headquarters of Newton Housing, but in that building, there is 12 units or 13 units? But there's 12 units of the apartments in Newton Housing, and all 12 units have people with mobility issues. So in other words, Newton Highlands, because of those units and everyone else with mobility issues, it's really a center of meaning this access here is critical based upon Newton Housing's location as well.
So for some folks that haven't had a chance to ask questions, lady in the purple.
Oh, yes. My concern is with the ramp, if we go for the simple design, the 2 ramps. So you're saying that it can't look like Fenway, because Fenway, when you cross the tracks, I think crutches and wheelchairs, there are people have been happy with safe, I don't think the
No.
way that, no, even in Fenway they're not?
There are 2 ramps at Fenway. One at the Fenway Park end, which is not accessible to wheelchairs and crutches and walkers.
Right.
Because of the grade, I guess that's why the wood is like this. But there's another crossing up at the western end of the track that is crossable by wheelchairs.
Okay. Is that something they can do in Newton Highlands, or is it something not possible? Or should you go, is it cheaper rather than touching the tracks, making the access on the inbound side, that bridge you're talking about, and the ramp, having ramps on both sides? What would be, because then you wouldn't have to cross the tracks in a wheelchair, or crutches, or a cane.
Right, and that's why we have presented options where each platform is accessible without crossing the tracks.
Would that be a cheaper way?
It tends to be on the order of magnitude more expensive, but it provides a higher level of accessibility, and it gets around operations concerns of having the grade cross